Hi guys, welcome back again to Vanzee channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of PC gaming on Android, but with a specific focus on one powerhouse, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Playing PC titles on Winlator is more than just a dream. It's a reality, and this chipset handles them quite well. We'll be showcasing a compilation of games that prove this processor is a fantastic choice for mobile emulation. Remember, while the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 provides exceptional performance, the key to a perfect gaming experience lies in the details. The right settings can make all the difference, so make sure to experiment and find the sweet spot for your specific device. Now, enough talk. The real question is, just how well can this pocket-sized beast handle these PC classics? Let's find out. First up, Stray plays a lost cat in a cyberpunk city. This beautiful adventure is perfectly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a smooth 30 to 40 FPS on Winlator. NieR Automata. This action RPG with a philosophical story runs smoothly on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving an excellent 40 to 50 FPS. Dead Space. Experience the chilling horror of Isaac Clarke's journey on the Ishimura. This classic sci-fi survival game performs exceptionally well, hitting 60 FPS or even more on Winlator. A Plague Tale. Innocence. Join Amisha and Hugo on their dark journey through plague-ridden France. This narrative-driven adventure is fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a solid 30 to 40 FPS. The Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me. Survive a deadly murder castle in this intense horror title. It runs flawlessly on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, consistently hitting 60 FPS. GTA 5. Return to Los Santos and enjoy the epic open-world chaos. This massive game is fully playable on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, where it maintains a very respectable 50 FPS. Doom 2016. Rip and tear through demon hordes in this fast-paced shooter. The action is incredibly smooth on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a stable 60 FPS. Warhammer 40,000. Boltgun. Unleash your inner space marine in this retro-style FPS. This game performs great on Winlator, delivering 40 to 60 FPS for some chaotic fun. Ride. Get on your favorite bike and race on stunning tracks. This motorcycle simulation runs beautifully on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a fantastic 40 to 60 FPS. Zombie Army Trilogy 2015. Fight hordes of undead Nazis in this cooperative shooter. The game is highly playable on Winlator with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a consistently smooth 60 FPS. 11. Journey to the Savage Planet. Explore a vibrant, alien world in this first-person adventure. It's a great experience on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, running at a smooth 40 FPS on Winlator. Ultra Age. This stylish action game puts you in a futuristic world with fast-paced combat. Winlator delivers a solid performance of 50 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Fallout 4. The post-apocalyptic Boston wasteland awaits. This huge open-world RPG is highly playable on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, running an impressive 45 to 60 FPS. Dead Space 2. Isaac Clarke's fight for survival continues with more horror and action. This sequel runs flawlessly on Winlator, delivering a steady 60 FPS on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Lies of P. A dark, challenging Souls-like adventure inspired by Pinocchio. This visually stunning title is playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving 30 to 40 FPS. Dead Space 3. The finale of Isaac's journey brings co-op action to the series. The game is highly optimized and runs at a buttery smooth 60 FPS on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Evil West. Hunt supernatural monsters in the Wild West. This unique action game is playable on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a solid performance of 30 to 40 FPS. Days Gone. Survive a harsh, post-apocalyptic Oregon. This survival horror is semi-playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, with frame rates of 20 to 30 FPS. Guzzlers Extreme. Get ready for explosive racing action. This combat racer runs at a perfect 60 FPS on Winlator, offering a smooth experience on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. One Piece World Seeker. Embark on an open-world adventure with Luffy. This anime-style action game is fully playable, running at a fantastic 60 FPS on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Battlefield 4. Experience large-scale warfare in this acclaimed military shooter. The game is fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, offering a silky smooth 60 FPS on Winlator. Graven. This retro-inspired dark fantasy FPS offers a challenging adventure. It runs well on Winlator with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting a solid 30 to 50 FPS. Resident Evil 6. This action-packed entry in the horror series is a treat for fans. It's perfectly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, maintaining a great 60 FPS on Winlator. Bright Memory Infinite. A high-octane FPS with stunning visuals. This game is quite playable on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving 30 to 40 FPS. Remnant from the Ashes. Team up to fight monstrous creatures in this challenging co-op shooter. It runs very well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching 40 to 50 FPS. Tomb Raider. The 2013 reboot is a thrilling survival adventure. It's incredibly playable on Winlator with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, running an impressive 60 to 90 FPS. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Relive this classic RPG with modern visuals and combat. This massive title is playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a good 40 to 60 FPS. Fear 3. Fight supernatural horrors in this intense first-person shooter. It runs exceptionally well on Winlator, achieving a blistering 60 to 120 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Dark Souls 3. The final chapter in the Dark Souls trilogy is a grueling but rewarding challenge. It's playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, holding a stable 30 FPS. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Embark on Geralt's epic quest in this legendary open-world RPG. This masterpiece runs surprisingly well, hitting 40 to 50 FPS on Winlator. 31. Metro Exodus. Brave the harsh Russian wilderness in this atmospheric, post-apocalyptic FPS. It's playable on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching 30 to 40 FPS. Need for Speed Payback. A high-stakes racing adventure full of thrilling chases and action. This game runs well on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a smooth 30 to 40 FPS. Burnout Paradise. Wreak havoc in Paradise City with explosive high-speed racing. This classic is perfectly playable, running at a fantastic 60 FPS on Winlator. Metro Last Light Redux. Experience the sequel to Metro 2033 with improved graphics. This game runs flawlessly on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a stable 60 FPS. Metro 2033 Redux. This remastered classic is the perfect start to the series. The game is highly playable on Winlator, achieving a solid 40 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Assassin's Creed Origins. Explore ancient Egypt in this historical open-world RPG. It is semi-playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting 20 to 30 FPS. Kingdom Come Deliverance. A realistic RPG set in medieval Bohemia. This massive game is surprisingly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving a steady 30 FPS. Tales of Kenzera. Zao. A visually stunning platformer with a heartfelt story. This title is perfectly optimized, running at a smooth 60 FPS on Winlator. Resident Evil 2 Remake. This modern classic of survival horror is fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, holding a solid 30 FPS. Resident Evil 3 Remake. Escape the clutches of Nemesis in this thrilling remake. It runs very well on Winlator with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a good 50 FPS. 41. Mortal Kombat 11. Enter the brutal arena of this legendary fighting game. It is playable on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a solid 40 to 50 FPS. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Wield a chainsword and Boltgun in this intense third-person shooter. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a good 30 to 40 FPS. Mad Max survive the post-apocalyptic wasteland and customize your own vehicle. This game is highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting a great 40 FPS. Titanfall 2. Pilot giant mechs in one of the most acclaimed shooters. It is playable on Winlator, providing a smooth 30 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Oceanhorn 2. Knights of the Lost Realm. Embark on a beautiful, Zelda-like adventure. This title runs perfectly on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, maintaining a consistent 60 FPS. Rise of the Tomb Raider. Lara Croft's second modern adventure is both thrilling and stunning. It runs very well on Winlator, reaching 30 to 50 FPS on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Relive all 9 films in a hilarious, brick-filled adventure. This massive game is playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a steady 30 FPS. System Shock Remake. Return to the iconic space station in this modern remake of a classic horror title. It runs exceptionally well on Winlator, providing a smooth 60 FPS. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Explore a gorgeous hand-drawn world in this magical platformer. The game is fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting a beautiful 60 FPS. Dying Light 2 Stay Human. Survive in a zombie-infested city in this parkour-filled open-world game. It's a bit slow, but semi-playable on Winlator, reaching 20 to 30 FPS. 51. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 Plus 2. Relive the classic skateboarding experience in this fantastic remake. It's highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a great 40 to 60 FPS on Winlator. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This fast-paced action game is a spectacle of stylish combat. It's fully playable on Winlator, delivering a smooth 30 to 40 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Dying Light. Jump into a zombie-infested city with a parkour twist. This action horror game runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a smooth 35 to 45 FPS. Cyberpunk 2077. Explore the vast, futuristic world of Night City. This demanding open-world RPG is quite playable on Winlator, hitting a solid 20 to 30 FPS. Red Dead Redemption. Ride through the Wild West in this legendary adventure. The game is highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving a good 50 FPS. Red Dead Redemption 2. Immerse yourself in Arthur Morgan's epic story. This massive and demanding game is playable on Winlator, providing a smooth 30 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Half-Life 2. The iconic sci-fi shooter is a must-play classic. It runs exceptionally well, with performance ranging from 60 to 90 FPS on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Spec Ops: The Line. This third-person shooter offers a dark, psychological narrative. It's fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, running at a stable 30 FPS. Inversion, a sci-fi shooter that lets you manipulate gravity. This unique game runs smoothly on Winlator, hitting 45 to 60 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, a terrifying first-person survival horror experience. This game is highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a great 45 to 60 FPS. 61. Dark Souls 2. This challenging action RPG takes you on a punishing yet rewarding adventure. It's playable on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a solid 30 to 40 FPS. Tekken 7. Step into the ring and experience this iconic fighting game. It runs perfectly on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing consistently smooth 60 FPS on Winlator. Mass Effect 3. Experience the epic conclusion to Commander Shepard's story. This sci-fi RPG is playable on Winlator, delivering a steady 30 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Max Payne 3. Join Max in his dark, action-packed adventure in Sao Paulo. This third-person shooter runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting 30 to 60 FPS. Devil May Cry 5. Battle demons with style in this fast-paced hack-and-slash game. It's highly playable on Winlator, achieving a great 40 to 60 FPS on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Need for Speed 2012. Engage in thrilling police pursuits in this action racing title. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a smooth 45 to 60 FPS. Watch Dogs 2. Explore a vibrant, hackable San Francisco. It's playable on Winlator, but expect some frame drops outdoors, with performance at around 30 FPS. Resident Evil Village. Survive the terrors of a mysterious village. This horror game is semi-playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, maintaining a decent 30 FPS. Final Fantasy 15. Go on a road trip with your friends in this beautiful RPG. It's semi-playable on Winlator, delivering a stable 30 FPS on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The Evil Within 2. Explore a twisted world in this psychological horror game. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a playable 30 to 40 FPS. 71. Prototype 2. Unleash devastating powers as a shape-shifting protagonist. This open-world action game is highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching 30 to 60 FPS on Winlator. Wolfenstein 2. The New Colossus. Fight a Nazi regime in this alternate history FPS. It runs well on Winlator with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting a great 30 to 50 FPS. Wolfenstein: The New Order. The first game in the series delivers a thrilling sci-fi adventure. It's playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a stable 30 FPS. Gears of War. This iconic third-person shooter is a cornerstone of the genre. It's fully playable on Winlator, delivering a smooth 30 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Prey. A mind-bending sci-fi thriller with unique abilities and intense combat. It runs very well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, achieving 30 to 50 FPS. Kena: Bridge of Spirits. A beautiful, charming adventure game with a heartwarming story. It's fully playable on Winlator, maintaining a steady 30 FPS. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Test your skills in this challenging and rewarding samurai adventure. It's playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a stable 30 FPS. No Man's Sky. Explore a massive, procedurally generated universe. This open-world survival game is playable on Winlator, reaching 40 to 60 FPS. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Sneak through shadows in this excellent stealth action game. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, delivering a consistent 30 FPS. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Roam the streets of Victorian London. This action-adventure title is playable on Winlator, providing a smooth 30 FPS. 81. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Hunt Sauron's army in this fantasy action-adventure. It runs flawlessly on Winlator, delivering a smooth 60 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. Go undercover in Hong Kong in this open-world action game. It is very playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a solid 40 FPS. PS 2021. Experience realistic football simulation in this classic sports title. It's perfectly playable on Winlator, maintaining a consistently high 60 FPS. The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim Special Edition. Explore the vast world of Skyrim. This epic RPG is playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, hitting a great 40 to 60 FPS. Dishonored 2. Use supernatural powers to complete your missions. This stealth action game runs well on Winlator, providing a smooth 30 to 60 FPS. Lego The Incredibles. Play as the Parr family in this fun, family-friendly adventure. It's highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching 40 to 60 FPS. Serious Sam 4. Take on huge hordes of aliens in this chaotic shooter. It runs well on Winlator, providing a smooth 30 to 50 FPS. Gylt, a spooky, narrative-driven adventure with a unique art style. It's fully playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a great 40 to 60 FPS. Quantum Break, a sci-fi action game that blends TV show elements with intense gunplay. It runs well on Winlator, hitting 30 to 50 FPS. Wanted Dead, unleash stylish, brutal combat in this cyberpunk adventure. It's playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a stable 30 FPS. Next, Ride 2. Experience realistic motorcycle racing with a wide selection of bikes. This sequel is highly playable on Winlator, delivering a smooth 60 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The Solus Project. Survive on a desolate alien planet in this first-person adventure. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching a great 40 to 60 FPS. Far Cry 4. Explore the open world of Kirit and fight for its freedom. This action-adventure is playable on Winlator, hitting a solid 30 to 40 FPS. MotoGP. Get on the track and race in this official motorcycle racing game. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, providing a playable 40 FPS. Terminator. Resistance. Fight against Skynet in a post-apocalyptic future. This FPS is playable on Winlator, reaching a smooth 30 to 40 FPS. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Wield a lightsaber and become a Jedi in this thrilling action game. It runs well on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, reaching 30 to 50 FPS. Halo 4. The final installment of the Master Chief journey in the MCC collection. It runs exceptionally well on Winlator, delivering a blazing 60 to 120 FPS. Illwell, a fast-paced, retro-style shooter with brutal action. This game is highly playable on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, maintaining a consistent 60 FPS. Borderlands, the looter shooter that started all. This classic is playable on Winlator, providing a stable 30 FPS. Final list, BioShock Infinite. Soar through the floating city of Columbia in this stunning FPS. It runs flawlessly on Winlator, delivering a smooth 60 FPS on your Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And that brings us to the end of our massive list. It's truly incredible to see what the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is capable of, turning your phone into a powerful portable gaming machine. The performance we've seen proves that mobile emulation is reaching new heights. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through 100 amazing titles. We hope this compilation helps you find your next great gaming experience on Winlator. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these games were you most surprised to see running so well? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to Vanzee for more great content like this. Until next time, happy gaming!